Hello and welcome to another Sculpt Session Sunday. I'm your host, Sash, and I am here with the wonderful, the beautiful Mandizzle with the shizzle.
Hello.
And Mandy and I are coming to you with a hot episode today where we are talking about dirty bulk, clean bulk, smart bulk, and what actually works. The reason for this episode is because I believe that there is such a tainted vision around bulking, and bulking has such a bad reputation because women fear to get big or like bulky. Like even just that word in itself just has such a bad reputation. They're scared to get fat, big, chunky, whatever you want to call it. And getting bulky is very misunderstood, whether it's misunderstood from social media, or maybe, if someone was a little bit on the bigger side and then lost weight and now they're scared to gain weight again. Like there's so many different ways and so many different reasons why someone may be scared to bulk. But the problem isn't the bulk, it's the misinformation and it's the way that the bulk happens. So, Mans, I want to open up the floor for you right off the bat, and I want to ask, have you had an experience where you had a bad bulk, a good bulk? Like what have you had fear around bulking? Like tell the people want to know.
I love that we're doing this topic, and I kind of have a confession. Yeah, I have a confession. I have been lifting for like 10 years, and I have not truly ever bulked until this last like 2 years. I really rode in and like relied on like a recomp when I first started my fitness journey, and like my body was like she ate that up. She was like, fuck yeah. Um, but I also have seen and had friends that did dirty bulking. I also myself, to your other question, was like very nervous about running a bulk and
Hmm.
getting bigger, but it wasn't even really like the physical aspect of getting bigger because that is needed, right? We both compete for bodybuilding. At the end of the day, you take the judges' feedback, they say you need more muscle, like you have to bulk, you have to put that muscle on if you
Yeah.
want to keep competing. But for me, it was the mind fuck of the scale number going up. So it took me a very long time to separate that from like progress, because we're
Yeah.
always more so like, oh no, progress is if we're losing weight and we're seeing our muscles. So that was the bigger challenge for me than the food. I think the only time I've had a hard time with the food being like dirty was more of a like reversing out of a prep situation where you need to gain some healthy weight, but like there was no structure and plan. So that was a little out of control for me. That was like the closest I've ever gotten to a dirty bulk, and that was like brownies and cookies, which was like so bad. Don't do that.
Yeah, yeah. And there's a couple of things that you pointed out. And one, thank you for sharing. And two, there's a couple of things that you pointed out. The first one, the bodybuilder. So, yes, you and I are both bodybuilders. So, we chose a sport where we go through bulks, maintenance, cuts. But if you are someone that is not a competitive bodybuilder and you are just trying to, you are a lifestyle client, you are just trying to gain more muscle, you go through some sort of bulk. Like that is just the name of the game. And then the next thing that you mentioned was a dirty bulk. And I hate, hate the word, the idea, the concept, everything behind a dirty bulk. Because to me, when someone says, "Oh, I'm just on a dirty bulk," that is just an invitation to act like a piece of shit to your body.
It's an excuse.
It's an excuse. It's literally an excuse. It's a cover up for wanting to go balls to the wall, do whatever the heck you want to do, put junk in your body, and that's not going to get you anywhere. That's not going to get you feeling good. And it's not a dirty bulk, it's you getting fat. Sorry. Like, I'm sorry.
No,
That is
no,
just
it's true. It's
That is
true.
just you getting fat. And I don't want this to get taken in a way of, oh my God, she like doesn't believe in balance and like, oh my God, like she can't eat junk food. No, your girl could very much so go have pizza, go have a bagel, go have this. It was just the holiday season not too long ago. And for like 5 days straight, we had dinner out almost every single day. But even with having the dinner out every single day, yeah, I had some pasta, but I also had my chicken. I also had my protein. And during that entire week almost of eating off plan, and technically bulking, right? Like eat, which I am in a calorie surplus right now. So you could say I am in an active bulk. I didn't put on, I literally put on a pound, and I can promise you that that's water weight just from like inflammation and sodium and not getting good sleep and having more alcohol than usual. So the idea and the concept of a dirty bulk and using that just as an excuse to act like an ass to your body and eat garbage, that is a very low blow, poor reason, and poor excuse. And some may argue that when you're in a bulk and when you're eating higher calories, it's hard to eat a certain amount of food without, getting insanely full. And that's where you get smart with the foods that you're eating. That's where you start adding stuff like olive oil. That's where you start having rice versus potatoes because you eat more like you drink some of your carbs, whether it's apple juice, orange juice, whatever, as long as like your sugar levels are in a good place, which those are like minor things, but not that minor. But anyways, there are ways, the same way that when you're cutting and when you're in a deficit, you start filling in your foods with high volume, the lettuce, the cucumbers. Like you see when a bodybuilder is competing, they start eating just so many vegetables and so much lettuce and the asparagus and these things because you can get a lot for very little calories. You do the reverse when you're bulking. You eat foods that are very calorically high, that aren't such huge portions. And now all of a sudden, I'm eating almost 2,500 calories a day. And I find myself like, wow, like my portions are pretty much the same size as when I was cutting. It's just different food sources, or like I'm adding things to substitute. So, bulking does not mean acting like an asshole if you didn't get the memo here already. It is a calorie surplus for fueling muscle growth. Like we need to remember the reason behind a bulk in order to have a successful bulk. Bulking does not equal eating whatever you want. Yes, have balance. Yes, go out to eat. Yes, have that freedom, but it's not an every single day thing. And I want to ask you, when you are right now, for example, in that calorie surplus and you're bulking and having like your real first bulk, how do you balance having those outside meals and still giving yourself freedom? Because this is probably one of the only seasons as a bodybuilder when you are in a maintenance slash bulk that you can afford to have that kind of freedom. And not to make that sound like bad, but how do you balance out being in a bulk, having outside food, allowing yourself to have that? Like, what does that look like to you?
Yeah, for me, it definitely, the biggest thing I'll say here is continuing to track stuff, even if it is having a meal out, like you said, for balance. I'm not eating out every single day. Maybe once a week. And that's not even every single week. Or like if Colin and I go to a coffee shop on the weekends, which sometimes we'll do, and maybe I'll get like a croissant, I'm logging a croissant because I still want to know what do I have to work with the rest of the day as far as my macros. Like if I'm over by 5 grams, I'm not going to freak out,
Yeah.
right? But I still want to know where I'm at because I've kind of graduated mentally to the place where it's like that's fuel. Like you said, you have to keep your eye on what is the goal. The goal is to add muscle. So you need to add calories. What are calories? They're energy. You work out harder. You apply that energy. You take it as it's fuel. You build with it. So that is kind of how I do balance. I still track. That's what keeps me honest every single day. I have like 1,200 something day streak in my fitness pal. So like I'm not about to like mess that up.
Yeah, she's
Like
like, I'm
it's
not
just like
breaking that.
I'm not breaking that no matter what. So like I want to see how far I can take this. So that is one of my kind of like safety checks to make sure like I keep myself honest, I keep myself tracking, and then I make sure that like yeah, if we do go out and I want to have something that's like a little bit more fun, I'll do it, but I might not get like a huge portion, or I'll be like, hey, can I have a box and we can put half of this in the box and take that home? So I'm not like making myself over full, which,
Yeah.
like you said, is very easy to do on a bulk if you're not doing it strategically.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely. And you covered so many like bullet points that no, I love it. I love it. You're ahead because this is what it really means to be in a good bulk. A bulk should be intentional. It should not be reckless. It should not be a guessing game. Tracking while you're bulking, even when you're having those outside meals, yes, that is a huge yes. Even if you track all the meals that you have beforehand and you know you're gonna go out for dinner, so maybe you just save a certain amount of calories. Like that's my always go to is if I'm not 100% sure what I'm gonna eat, or maybe I want to just like pick on some things on AJ's plate and I'm not really planning on having like an entire meal, or if I want to have a drink, like I know that I need to save a good amount of carbs, a good amount of fats, hit my fiber beforehand. Like there are certain things that I do. And again, very intentional. Besides the holiday couple of days that his parents were in town, almost week that we were like out and about having dinner, and even there, doing the same exact thing, saving macros every single day in my fitness pal, making sure that the foods that I chose when we went out to dinner fit into those macros, even if it's not perfect. Like, no, I wasn't walking around with a food scale and weighing out how much chicken was in my chicken salad, but I am at that point where I can see it and I'm like, all right, this is about 4 ounces of chicken, might have been cooked in some oil. All right, let's account for like carbs, fats, proteins, all of those kinds of things. So eating everything because you're bulking, not a good excuse. Having little structure and poor food quality, that's a big thing. Poor food quality, not a good excuse because you can have 2,000 calories or 2,300 calories, like my example of where I'm at, and fill those 2,300 calories with chips, cookies, brownies, whatever the heck. Or you can fill those 2,300 calories with beef, rice, whole foods. That is going to be two completely different physiques. Even though the calories are identical, you will have two completely different physiques. You will have two completely different body compositions. And the thing about when you're bulking, the scale goes up fast and body composition worsens if you're doing a dirty bulk. The scale is not supposed to be jumping up 5 pounds a week just because you're bulking. Like that is not we don't want to be there. And when you're doing a dirty bulk, you risk excess fat gain. Like, yes, we want to put on healthy fat, but we don't put on want to put on 50, 60 pounds of fat. And I'm in a place in my bulk where I'm over 25 pounds of my stage weight. And I feel really freaking good. I feel like my body composition is looking pretty good. And we are still continuing to push more food. Like we're not in a place where we're even cutting yet. So those 25 pounds that I'm up versus if I pulled up a picture for you last year, even a little bit longer than last year, where I was bulking, I was the same exact weight, but like my photos were night and day difference, and my weight was the same, but the way that I approached the bulk and like my mentality around it were completely different. Not to mention, it is that much harder to cut when you do a shitty bulk. So you were about to say something, go.
No, yeah, you just freaking nailed that. What I was gonna add is I think just for people listening, I think where it comes from, this like glorification of a dirty bulk is because we see those bodybuilders that are in the spotlight that are eating like 3 cheeseburgers in a meal to get their calories up. But guys, you have to remember everything is contextual. And these are like male physique, classic, open, big dude, heavyweight bodybuilders. Their calories are going to be insane compared to like a bikini girl or a wellness girl
Yeah.
or even figure. Like you have
Or
to
even just
remember
a
what,
lifestyle client.
right. So like I think that's where it comes from is like that glorification, but
Yeah.
contextually, like this is why it's also important whether you're in bodybuilding or lifestyle or whatever, I think it is invaluable to have a coach for that guidance because you might be sitting there thinking like, oh yeah, bulk is easy. I'm just gonna get to eat cheeseburgers and like pizza. Nah, do you want a cheeseburger and pizza body?
Yeah,
Like
no, for real.
results?
For
Or
real.
do
Like
you want
you can't have
like
your cake and eat it too.
no, well you can have your
You
cake
can
and
if
you
you
eat
want a
it,
cake
but it's
looking
gonna look like a
yeah,
cake.
if you want a cake looking body, then you can do that. And it that what you just gave that example of like, the man whose physique and this and
Like
that and
sebum, you know?
but even Sebum, if you watch
Mhm.
his YouTube videos, if you watch anything, and like I haven't watched his stuff as of recently, but when he was getting ready for his last Olympia and before that when he was in an off season, he would still like his main diet was whole food based.
Clean. Yeah.
It was still clean based. Like I've been down that rabbit hole where similar to you, after my first show, I was like very scared to put on weight. And then there came a point when I was like, oh, well, I need to put on weight. Cool. All right. Candy, this, Reese's cup, that lasted me for a couple of days. And then I felt like such garbage and I was so bloated and I was so inflamed. Like I remember I love wearing rings. I don't have them on right now, but I couldn't take my rings off because I was so inflamed and it hurt. It like hurt to like close my fists because of my rings being on. And it was like, I was like, this is not how I'm supposed to feel. Like, I don't feel good. Not to mention, there's like the mental fog, and you're tired and you're drowsy because you're not fueling your body the way that it needs to be fueled. And I don't want anyone to feel crappy if they are currently in a bulk and they might not be doing it the smart way, or if they've experienced that before, or if they're scared to bulk because they're scared about their relationship with food, because we've been there. We've done that. And like Mandy said, the difference between having a shitty bulk, a decent bulk, and a great bulk is having a coach who gives you that structure, that accountability, that support. And I'm not talking about a coach that just gives you a meal plan and says, good luck, but it's a coach who walks you through, all right, maybe your hunger cues are off, and that's why you're like craving so much sugar and like all of these different foods. Maybe there's something off with your hormones. Like it all everything paints the picture. Like you can't just like put a dot and the picture is painted. Like you need to color everything in. You need to focus on everything. Like that's really what it comes down to. So with the difference between that smart intentional bulk, which is what everybody wants who wants to put on any kind of muscle is a planned calorie surplus. It's not just, I don't know how many calories I'm eating, but I just need to eat more food. Like, no, girl, that is very childlike behavior. Like, we want to know how much we're eating if we want to see a difference in our bodies. That's really what it comes down to. If you don't care and you just want to eat, because like you just want to eat without thinking about macros and calorie tracking and you've never done that before, you also can't want specific results because you won't get them. I'm sorry.
Well, also eating in a bulk, like if you're doing it a healthy way, you're not gonna feel like shit.
No, you're not. If anything,
You'll
you're gonna
feel
feel
really
full.
good.
Yeah, you're gonna feel really good. And with that, with feeling really good, like being in a planned calorie surplus, you are also training hard. Like your strength should be going up. Every single lift, you should be pushing more weight. You should be feeling stronger. You should be feeling better. Like your performance is supposed to be going up as you're doing the bulk. If you're eating crappy food, I'm sorry, you're not going to feel good enough to be able to push good weight. Like you will feel groggy, you will feel blech. I had freaking Christmas cookies and I was like, oh yeah, I probably like, just about hit my macros, maybe went a little bit over. My next day workout was like so blech because my body was just like not fueled the way that it was supposed to. I did not have a single great workout over the holidays until I jumped back into eating my usual meals.
Your body's like, "Sash, oh my
My body was like shriveling up, like, please feed me whole foods, like, please.
God."
Not to mention, like, th with that cheeseburger example that you gave,
Mhm.
no one should be consuming that much sodium a day.
I mean, yeah, you need
Like,
to
that's
have enough
dangerous.
water too. And like for these bigger, male competitors, it might make sense because of their body size and their water intake ratio. But like for the average everyday person that wants to gain muscle, like, yeah, like sodium's important, but it again, contextually, what are you drinking? What's your fluid status? Like, do you
Exactly.
have heart issues? Are you on medication?
Which
It
those are
matters.
all things that need to be tracked too, like your step goal, your water goal. Like, yes, still having a step goal while you're in a bulk. I'm still at 10,000 steps and I'm in a bulk. I still have 15 minutes of cardio to do and I'm in a bulk. I'm drinking a gallon of water and I'm in a bulk. Like, it's not just food and then like you just eat more food and that's it. Like, you still have boxes to check off. And the one of the most important things when you're bulking is tracking your progress and like monitoring your body changes. And that's where working with a coach comes in because you're checking in every week. you're taking pictures, you're stepping on the scale, you're responding to a check-in form every single week of how you're feeling, how's your strength, like you log your workouts as you're doing them and you're seeing, okay, last week I pushed this much weight, this week I can add 2.5 or I can add another 5 pounds or whatever. And like you're literally watching your growth happen. And without tracking these things, logging these things, paying attention to these things, please tell me you're gonna remember how much weight you were pushing 2 weeks ago to be able to push more this week or what the number on the scale was, or how your body looked, or like what was happening. Like your body will change and it's normal. We just want to make sure that it's not, again, 10 pounds in a week spikes out of nowhere.
Well, I think that's also a really important point that you make is another reason you need to have a coach, especially if you have a little bit of a mm, meh relationship with food, is because, we kind of talked to it a little bit. It is a mind fuck when you see the scale go up. So if you're in a place where mentally you want to put on muscle, you want, I'm speaking to the ladies now, you want to get a fat dumpy,
You want
you
a
have to
fat
eat more.
ass.
You got to grow that thing. So you have to eat more. The scale will go up. And if that is a struggle that you have mentally, that is where it is super valuable to have that coach to walk you through the who, what, where, when, why are we adding food like this?
And just
What
to
is
have
the
in your
purpose?
back corner of like,
Yeah.
you're good. Like, this is what we want. This is the goal. And with the scale, your clothes will also fit differently. Your
Mhm.
lines will fade. Like, if you're someone that was very lean or had like ab lines, some of your lines will f fade. And like that identity shift, like what you're saying, like that mind fuck that you have of, I'm not lean anymore, or my body is changing, or maybe were a little bit heavier, lost weight, and now you're scared to gain weight because you're scared of becoming like that maybe a little bit bigger you that you don't want to be. There's, those changes that you mentally work through, and it's hard to do it yourself. It's hard when you are driving the bus, but also have to fix the maintenance of the bus and also have to like it's hard when you are a one person show. And your body changing doesn't mean that you're doing something wrong. It means that it's responding. And it's hard to understand that when you're doing it solo and when you don't know like the end goal or like how to revert out of that, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Or what is the time length, right? Because
Yeah.
it's not, you don't bulk for 4 months and you're done. You're not going to put on the muscle mass and the tissue that you want to. Like a healthy, strategic, smart bulk is going to take eh, conservatively 8 months to a year plus, depending on how much muscle you want to put on.
Yeah,
So if
and
you're
that's a
like,
smart bulk where like we're
yeah,
slowly, the weight is slowly going up. And there might even come a point where like you're not even like putting on that much weight anymore, but like your body is just responding really well.
if it's done right, yeah, you can like do like almost a recomp there where you are adding muscle tissue. And then if you have a coach, that's when you like kind of reassess. Okay, do we kind of plateau with our progress here? Do we add a little bit more calories? Like, do we take away some cardio or do we change the type of cardio? These are the reasons why you should hire a coach. Sash,
Or Mandy.
bless me.
Both of
Excuse
us.
me.
Bless you. Bless you. But on that note, to anyone who doesn't have a coach and is maybe concerned that they are either doing the bulk right or wrong, I want to give you a couple nuggets of information and things to think about of signs that you're doing the bulk wrong and then signs that you're doing the bulk right. So, a couple signs that you're doing the bulk wrong. Strength is not improving. You're not getting stronger. Your progressive overload is not going anywhere. You're not seeing more, like you're not getting better pumps. You're not feeling better. You're not seeing more juiciness going on. You're constantly bloated or inflamed. That's not a good thing. You should not be bloated or inflamed. And if your reason for not wanting to bulk or not wanting to put on muscle or weight is because you're a short person and you get very bloated and very inflamed, it's not because you're a short person. Because for reference, I'm 5'3.5", and Mandy is just about that same size. And we are a little bit on the shorter side. We don't become Oompa Loompas when we
The
are
blueberry girl.
the blueberry girls when we're bulking. If it's done intentionally and it's done right, you're not gonna have the inflammation and bloating that you're so scared of. Um, Not having structure, not tracking, no plan, bulk isn't going right. That's just the reality of it. It's not going to go the way that you want it to. And if you're using your bulk as an excuse to check out, you're going to forever taint the vision of what a bulk is supposed to be. You're going to have a shitty experience and you're going to have a hard time coming back from it. So if you need to check out for a little bit, or like you need to have a little bit of a softer protocol because of things that are happening in your life or whatever, you do that with intention. You do a deload week. You do maybe a couple of days where you're not tracking food and you're eating intentionally, but you're eating whole foods. Like you're not going out and not tracking food and eating like an ass and ordering Uber Eats, but you are just maybe taking a couple of days from the scale. If that's what you need, if that's what your mind needs, like that's okay. That's fine. We're not robots. But we also want to make sure that we're not just using excuses. We're not creating excuses for ourselves that we're then like only you're going to pay for the consequences of those excuses. No one else. You and whatever coach you end up working with because they're going to have to revert your bad decisions that you've made. So, on that note, Mandy, do you have any other signs that a bulk is going wrong before we jump into the right?
Yeah. Okay. If you're, listen, if you're not pooping every day,
Oh,
because this
that's good.
is this is one that I see a lot. Because like even if you're increasing your food sources, kind of like what we were talking about, if you're doing a dirty bulk, or if you're kind of taking a little bit advantage of the balance per se, and like maybe you're eating out a couple times a week, and maybe it is burger, maybe it is pizza, maybe it's just like spaghetti and meatballs. Great, but these are foods that are not going to be high in fiber. This is where I think people get afraid of getting bloated or like putting on too much water weight because they're not balancing out with those fiber sources. Fiber sources will make you feel full faster. And this is why it's super important that the majority of your bulk is done with clean, whole foods. And that is one sign that your bulk is not going according to plan, is if you're not pooping every day. That means we're missing the mark on some of these food sources or fiber or water.
Yeah, that's a really good one. That's a really good one.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, and you gotta poop anyway every single day to make sure that, we're getting those toxins out and we're not staying inflamed or our water weight is shifting in a positive direction.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. And another one, as you were saying that I thought of is if you are having the same level of like brain fog and just like not having mental clarity and just like very exhausted and very tired. Like that is not a
Mhm.
good sign. If anything, the food is supposed to be again, the whole foods are fueling you, they're energizing you. Like competitors specifically go from being super lean to then, putting on muscle and size and healthy fat. And they always say, like, when you're prep lean, like you have prep brain. And then when you get out of it, it's like, oh my God, I can think clearly again. Like, I actually have a functioning brain. If your brain isn't functioning and you are bulking, food has a
Red
lot to
flag.
do. Yeah, food has a lot to do with that. Food has a lot to do with that. Your approach to the bulk has a lot to do with that. Your balancing excuses, like going out again, like Mandy said, for a free meal once a week, or maybe even your coach tells you twice a week. Like I have clients that I'm like, hey, I want you to eat out twice a week, have one of them be something a little bit cleaner, like maybe sushi, chill out with like not too much soy sauce so the sodium isn't up, and then maybe another one is if you want like either a burger or add like 500 calories to this, whatever, or whatever the case may be, because that's just like what their protocol requires for us to get to where they want to go. I have other cases where it's like, yeah, you get one free meal. Let's see how your body responds. If it doesn't respond well, let's pull out for now and just like really focus in on the whole foods. Food is fuel, but we are talking about whole foods is fuel, not your freaking protein bars, protein chips, no-
Oh,
nothing with fiber. Like fiber is a huge source, and you should be getting 25 plus grams of fiber a day. Use MyFitnessPal to track that and make sure that you're getting that in. Thank you very much. Now, when it comes to signs that your bulk is going right, it's going to be the complete reverse of everything that we just said. So, lifts are going up, your strength is going up, you're feeling good, you're feeling pumped, you're stronger, you can lift for longer. Like you can stay in the gym for longer without getting burnt out or feeling exhausted or feeling tired. You're mentally feeling better, like more, just alive, like more of a person, feeling good. Your recovery is improving, like you're not as sore because when you're really lean, you're probably also going to be a lot more sore because your food isn't up and your training intensity is really high. Your hunger related cues like are in a good place because you'll be surprised. You could be adding more food and getting hungrier as you're adding more food. That's good. That means your metabolism is burning through the food and we're gonna see good responses on the scale and with your body. Your physique is looking fuller, not sloppy. There's a difference. There's a difference between seeing muscles filling out and everything else filling out that shouldn't. Okay? And most importantly would be trusting the process because a bulk is not a 2 month thing. It's not a 3 month thing. And listen, if you are a competitor and you stepped off stage and you want to compete again within a year and you and your coach are doing like a 2 month reverse, a 3 month bulk, and then hopping back into a prep and your body's responding good to that, you're a one of a kind person. Good for you. The reality is muscle takes a lot of time to grow. Muscle maturity is literally like think of the word maturity. It takes some time to become mature, right? Right? Like a 5 year old, like yeah, maybe they have some maturity, but they're not like a fucking genius, right? Unless like you're a special case. We have special cases. So muscle maturity is the same idea. Like it takes a while for the muscles to mature.
And on that note, too, about muscle maturity, the more muscle maturity you have, the longer it takes to add more muscle. Just remember that newbie gains are a thing for a reason.
Exactly. Exactly. So you want to really trust the process. You want to trust it when you're uncomfortable, and you will get uncomfortable in a bulk, but there's a difference between getting uncomfortable because your body is changing and maybe, yeah, you have a little bit of extra weight that you're not used to, or maybe like you don't look the same way that you did in like your cut or your lean phase, and that's okay. But you don't want to, again, get sloppy and be like, it's because I'm bulking. Like, no, that it lame excuse, low blow, don't do that. So I wanted to touch on the topic of who bulking is for and who it isn't for. I believe that anybody with the right support and guidance could bulk and should bulk because at the end of the day, if you want a body that looks built, you have to be willing to go through a phase where it's being built. You can't just live in being lean. That is extremely unhealthy. And we can totally do another podcast about the negative effects of staying lean all year round. You could stay in a maintenance. That's cool. That's fine. But then that's a maintenance. That's you just maintaining what you have. And like, yeah, maybe you can add a little bit here, decrease a little bit there, kind of have a little body recomp. But if you are someone that wants to build muscle, whether you are a competitor or a lifestyle client and you want a butt, you want nice shoulders, you want defined legs, you want those quads, you want a quad sweep, you want to look built, you have to go through the building phase. That's it. That's it. And just to kind of close out, there are, like Mandy has said, like I have said, mental shifts that are required while you're bulking. And these are just requirements, not that we came up with, but just you will go through this as you're bulking. Patience, discipline doesn't disappear. If anything, it is a different kind of discipline because I hate hearing that I want to start a prep because that's when I'm disciplined. No, girl. That's because you're not disciplined enough as is. So you use the excuse of being in a prep to finally have structure. You can have that structure all year round. I'm doing it. Mandy's doing it. Any successful bodybuilder who has actually made it somewhere successful does it. So discipline doesn't disappear, and some growth seasons are not aesthetic, but they are extremely necessary. And I will say this again, even though I said it maybe like 2 or 3 minutes ago. I don't know how long it's been in the podcast, but if you want a body that looks built, you need to be willing to go through the phase where it's being built. And that's all I got. Clock it.
Period.
56, 7, clock it.
Oh my God.
If my little cousins are listening to this, they're probably like, "Oh my gosh, what is she doing?" Anyways,
Eight,
that's
nine.
10, 11? I don't know. Um, do you have any last words of wisdom to any of the ladies or gents, whoever's listening? Probably ladies. I feel like we tailor to the ladies. Good, which is
Yeah.
who we want to be tailoring to. But do you have any last little nuggets of wisdom to anyone who is either in a bulk, is about to start a bulk, wants to start a bulk?
Mhm. Just keeping in mind that data is going to be your best friend here. Just because, like Sasha said, discipline doesn't go away. It's a different kind of discipline because, if you're in a prep or if you're a lifestyle and you're trying to, I don't know, lose body fat for a vacation or your wedding or like a goal like that, that's just it. You have a end date in mind. With bulking and growing, so it takes long. It takes a very long time, and sometimes you might have to have a maintenance period in that bulk just to kind of manage mentally or physically if something is like a little taxing, stop, take an assessment, see what's going on, and then you have to add more time to that bulk. So that's my biggest thing is before you go into it, have that data set up. We're taking weights, and if the scale triggers you, then we're taking pictures every single week. Have your food logs, have your training logs. If you need different clothes, prepare for that. Prepare for that. I will tell you right now, can I fit in my previous gym clothes? Yes, I can. Do I feel comfortable with it? No, I don't. And what do I do? Because if I'm wearing that and I don't feel comfortable, then in my mind, mentally, I don't get a good lift. So what I've done is I've created Juicy Adam Sandler season and I wear what I'm comfortable in, and my lifts are phenomenal. So just prepare for those mental shifts and to really collect that data so you can be successful.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that. That is such a strong place to close. And the final touch that I have is you said that, there are end goals for whether you're getting ready for a vacation, a bodybuilding show, a wedding, whatever the case is. If you want to live a healthy life and truly live a long, healthy life, being jacked, having muscle, looking hot, all of those are kind of like they're not end goals, they're like what is it? Checkpoints. It's like
Mhm.
checkpoints because at the end of the day, being on a fitness journey, there is no actual end goal. It is just an ongoing thing of, yeah, you go through a bulk for this time, then you go through a cut, you see what you build underneath, then you're getting ready for a vacation, a wedding, whatever the case is, like they're just checkpoints. And once you understand that you are just living this life, this healthy lifestyle, this lifestyle where you are working on being a better you every single day and working towards that, you have a different approach to how you treat every season. You have a better approach of how you treat the bulk. You have a healthy approach of how you treat the cut. You have a healthy approach of how you treat the maintenance. And to anybody listening to this who is about to start a bulk, in a bulk, has had a shitty bulk, and is like worried about going through it again, I 100% second what Mandy just said about the data. It sounds a lot scarier than it is. Don't look at social media for your advice of how to do it, even though we are posting this on social media, on a social media platform. But don't look at your favorite influencer and the way that they're going about it because you don't know what they're actually doing. They don't always show everything. That's first of all. Second of all, their body is completely different from yours, even if you're the same height, same weight, same goals, same everything. Because Mandy and I are pretty much the same when it comes to everything, but we have two completely different protocols when it comes to training, when it comes to nutrition, when it comes to everything. So keep that in mind. Both of us are one-on-one coaches. So if there are any questions that you have and you want to reach out to either one of us, I'm going to have our Instagram handles below, as well as my application form and some other links where you can find us, like our Substack, our TikToks, like everywhere. So if you want to connect with us, we love connecting with you ladies. Please feel free to reach out with any questions. Have a great bulk and have a great rest of your day. Thank you for tuning in for another Sculpt session. Like, comment, subscribe, rate the podcast. Love you. Bye. 6, 7.